Happy Monday, y'all, and welcome to day 22 of Walk with Winston. It's hard to believe that we've been on this journey coming up on a month. We're getting close to a month of these videos, and I'm very excited to share with you all this morning that I have set up a new Facebook page as a place to look at the collection of all these videos. And it's in the link here today that talks about, well, it just gives you an opportunity to, if you've missed any of these walks and any of these inspiring, encouraging videos, mostly about transformation and change so far, but also about faith and mindset, you now have a one-stop shop for all of these videos. It's the Facebook page is winstonfaircloth.com. It's not a website, it's just a Facebook page, and it kind of differentiates between my personal feed and my and a collection of all these videos. So I encourage you to go over there and like that page, and then you'll get just those notifications when I post these videos going forward. I tried to get the Walk with Winston page, but that belongs to a dog who was very ill a few years ago, and this was a fundraiser for his surgery. Don't know what happened to old Winston, but it's a pretty inactive page right now, so we had to use this other one. So again, I encourage you guys to go to winstonfaircloth.com, one word, and that way you can find all the 21 videos before this if you are so inspired to do that. I appreciate you taking a look at that page and sharing it with your friends. So, have you ever noticed how our culture tells us certain things that doesn't necessarily match up with our experience in the natural world, in God's world? The older I get, the more I experience life that is so contrary to what we hold up in popular culture. And I share that starting point today to talk about today's topic, which is rest accelerates transformation. Boy, that sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Our culture and a mistaken belief that I've carried for a long time is that my effort is what fuels transformation. My effort alone, the massive action that I take, and the goal setting and the accountability and all of that is singularly responsible for the transformation that I experience in my life. And while all of those are contributing factors to change, to hold that out as the single catalyst for change, I think, is mistaken. I'll tell you why I say that. Have you ever noticed, the longer you live, longer I've lived, I've seen that I've received outcomes in my life that have relatively little to do with what I achieve in life. People call it serendipity or coincidence or that these achievements are somehow. Sometimes I get outcomes and achievements that bear little resemblance to what I had started out to do when I started working towards a goal. And there's a lot of those stories I'm going to share with you guys over the next few days in terms of an outcome I had been working for, my family had been praying for, and then the outcome that I eventually received was very different, but ultimately much better than what I could have dreamed or imagined. And so You know, I will share that over the past couple years, as I went through a pretty significant life transformation, I had, coming up to that decision to make the transformation, I had really surrendered myself and opened myself to a variety of outcomes. I had no idea what I was doing, but I wanted to quiet myself and to listen for where I was being led. Good morning.
Good morning.
And so during that season of discernment, I was very quiet, and I would study God's Word, and I would write, and I would journal, and I'd talk to friends and bounce ideas off of them. But it was a season of rest and a season of quiet. And I'll say that coming into that season of discernment, I was really frustrated and stuck and immobilized with lots of this season of discontent. And taking that period of time to rest gave me incredible insights. But did I know exactly what I was doing? No, not at all. As I was, I knew I needed to leave a job, that I needed to change a relationship, and that I needed probably a fresh start somewhere else. But I had no idea how that would all turn out. So once I saw that opportunity, I stepped into it and I started the transformational process. Well, sorry about that sunrise behind us. So that the period of discernment was really important, that I was taking regular rest and not trying to force the door open that wasn't there. And I think I was successful in that regard. But then as I stepped into the transformation effort itself, and I felt led to take a new direction in my life, I really have been forcing this through sheer willpower, and my force of nature determination. Sometimes that's an asset, but sometimes it can be a real detriment. And as a result of exerting my will over this transformation, in a lot of ways I think I've delayed God's hand in my life. The past 2 years in particular, I had a divine appointment, and that's another great topic to talk about, how these divine connections and divine appointments can really change the trajectory of your transformation. But I had a divine appointment that helped me to pivot and to move in a whole new direction. But once I got into that new role, I was a force of nature. I was trying to exert my will and my talent over the outcome. And it has been a real struggle for me. I think in part it's really fueled some of the, I know it's fueled some of that weight gain, because the distance between where I was and the outcome I was seeking was so great that I put a lot of pressure on myself, which then wore me out, which reduced my resistance to bad habits, which then fueled overeating, etc. It just became this downward spiral for me. So, as we're hungry for that transformation in our lives, sometimes we can be too eager, too consumed with the change and the transformation, that we don't relax and let doors open for us naturally. Whenever I get a message or an idea 2 or 3 times in a row, it's a signal to me to take action and to really consider how I can incorporate that into my life. And over the past weekend, I got the message multiple times about letting go and relaxing and resting into the change, into the transformation. So the last couple of weeks we've talked a lot about mindset and a lot about changing our mindset about change. And many of those things we talked about were action steps that you could take. But only one of those was really a letting go step, the step of faith. And so I'm so thankful that God created the Sabbath. And so I'm going to step into for a second just a reflection of how rest can really accelerate our change. I took a day of rest yesterday from my walks and my workouts, and this morning I feel great. I feel a pep in my step. I feel I'm doing a faster pace. I'm feeling more accomplished and more centered, and these walks feel brand new. I used to be very legalistic about Sabbaths, the concept of a Sabbath. All the restrictions that you couldn't do. And in the same way that God makes night and day, night is a time of rest, He also created the Sabbath, in my belief, to give us a break from the relentless pursuit of achievement and the relentless pursuit of accomplishment and the busyness of life. And so while this is not a habit I have perfectly incorporated into my life, I'm seeing the benefit of doing that. It shows Him that I trust Him more than anything else. And, as we let go of the attachment to the outcome of our transformation, I believe we're going to experience the fruits of transformation even faster. So have you tried giving up your attachment to your transformational goal? Have you experienced that in your past, where you had your heart set on something so much, so determined to get it, it was your constant thought and desire, and the more you grasped for it, the more elusive it seemed? I've experienced that in my life. And yet, when I have let go of the timing or the number associated with that transformation, it's amazing how it just begins to show up. What culture says about, and high performance coaches say about how we got to go after transformation is not my experience in my own personal transformation. The biggest, the most earth-shaking transformations in my life have not resulted exclusively from my force of will and determination. It's also come from a belief and trust in the outcome and in the process. So as you're imagining your transformational journey, I encourage you to build in periods of rest where you take a break from your force of will trying to make that happen, and just relax and let go and enjoy the journey and see where God and your efforts will take you. Something to think about today. Can we achieve transformation and rest at the same time? One of my virtual mentors talks about the more that he lets go, the better results he gets. I challenge us to see if that's true for ourselves in our own transformation. With that, you guys have a great Monday. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.